In the previous video, we discussed how data is generated when people interact with online content. We saw how those interactions leave a trace in the publishers and the advertiser servers in the form of web server logs. But the interactions you have with websites and ads can also leave a trace in your browser in the form of cookies. I bet you've heard about them before, so let's explore what they are and how marketers use them. Web and ad servers can store some information about your interaction in a special storage area in your browser. When you interact with content from the same publisher or advertiser later, the publisher can call up the information it stored in your browser to help it remember a few things about you and your previous interactions. So you can think of cookies as the browser memory, and publishers and advertisers can ask it to be reminded of relevant things. A cookie is a formatted piece of text that gets stored in a person's browser. Cookies contain information on when the person accessed the website, saw an ad, and where they clicked. Sometimes login information is stored as well. This information makes it possible for websites to remember a person's login info, for instance. Remember what someone had put in a shopping cart or what content a user seemed interested in. Cookies allow a server to connect multiple interactions from the same person. Here's how they work. The person requests a page through the browser. To the server, it looks like a browser requesting a page. When the server gets this request, it sends the page the person asked for back. But alongside the page, it also sends a tiny text file that's placed inside the person's browser. The next time the person requests a page from the same server, the request will come with a cookie attached. So now the server has a little bit of information about the browser that's asking for the page. In the previous lesson, we distinguished between first, second, and third-party data. Actually, that distinction is also very relevant when we talk about cookies, especially first and third-party cookies. First-party cookies are the text files stored in your browser by the sites that you're actually visiting. For instance, when you visit your favorite news site, they will store a text file in your browser that helps this news site to remember some of your preferences. When you come back to that news site, your experience may be personalized on the basis of the information the site has stored in your browser. By visiting your favorite news site, you have an implicit or explicit agreement that the site can store these cookies in your browser. You've probably had to accept the use of cookies for many sites you visit. When you accept, you give the site you are on permission to add cookies to your browser. Third-party cookies are text files stored in your browser by a third party with whom you don't have a direct relationship. In the case of your favorite news site, there may be an advertiser who stores some information in your browser while you visit the news site. The advertiser can do that because it has an ad showing on the news site you are visiting. For that ad to load, your browser interacts with the ad server, and the ad server can send a cookie to your browser in that interaction. But you did not intentionally seek out a relationship with that advertiser. Hence, the cookie they store is considered a third-party cookie. Third-party cookies are used for tracking and advertising targeting purposes. Advertisers can use this third-party cookie to build a user profile on you, tracking the different websites you visit and which ads you click, thus getting a better understanding of your interests. That understanding will help them tailor ads to you. Since users have less control over third-party cookies and how they're used, they have raised privacy concerns. Users and browsers increasingly block these cookies from being stored. Later, we'll take a closer look at data and privacy, and we will cover this in more detail. But for now, it's good to keep in mind that third-party cookies are harder to rely on, as they're slowly phased out as a result of these concerns. While cookies in general can be a great way to connect a person's interaction with the server and pass some information back and forth, they have some challenges. Ideally, the cookie would function as the memory of the interactions between a website and a person. With that memory intact, navigation would be smoother for the person. The website would know what actions they took, or it might remember settings they like or pages and ads they saw. But people don't use just one browser for all their interactions with a website. They may use different computers, different browsers, and mobile devices. Cookies don't work across devices, and the memory trace is lost. People can also erase cookies from their browsers, which erases the memory from the publisher and the advertiser. Users can also change the privacy settings in their browsers and prevent cookies from being stored. You should also keep in mind that many browsers today don't allow the use of third-party cookies by default. One of the major complications with cookies is that they don't work on mobile apps. As a result, it's hard for a publisher to link behavior from a person on its website to behavior on its app. But even with those limitations, cookies play an important role in how data is stored and used online.